Parashat NASSO. Parashat NASSO is always read near or close by to Chag HaShavuot. Starts with a description of the family of the Leviim, their jobs, their numbers, how many out there. And right after that, it says the famous pasuk, Ish o Isha, a man or a woman, ki yasu mikol chatot ha'adam, will sin whatever humans sin. Lim'ol mal be'Hashem. Lim'ol mal is really to betray Hashem. And then it says, V'al isha sota, regarding a woman who is a sota, which cheated, or it's not really cheated, I think it's more accurate to say betrayed her husband. And then it talks also about a person who became a Nazir. Nazir means a Nazarite, a Jewish monk. And at the end, we're talking about the korbanot, the sacrifice of the presidents, at the end of building the Mishkan. And the Parashat describes a lot of different situations in which one minute you're up, next minute you're down. I mean, going up and down, it's crazy. However, the hint for us is that the Parashat gives us that it is hinting to a possibility in Shavuot, of the Chag of Shavuot, that give us an opportunity, a tremendous opportunity to really make, a change, a drastic change in your life. Now, even though we're going to be out for Shavuot and then, Thursday we're going to miss it, that's why I decided to do it today, because I want you to be aware of that. Maybe we should not have recorded, because if you hear, you gain it. If you're not, whatever. But nevertheless, and just like Am Yisrael Kimalu Mitzrayim, the same thing as Am Yisrael Kimalu Mitzrayim, they transfer from an awareness, from a state of mind of slavery, which means fear, anger, frustration, bitterness, jealousy, etc., etc. All those midot that people have indicates that they are stuck in a slave mentality. A free man is not jealous, and so on and so forth. To the awareness of free people and eternal life, of course, which we got in Har Sinai, and that in for us in the Torah it's called Bila Hamavet Lanetzach. Bila milshon bala, swallowed. In other words, that death is being swallowed and consumed forever. That's it. Yeah, we bring it back upon ourselves, but at that moment there was an opportunity for us to do so on Matan Torah, when we received the Torah. That's why I tried to call today so many people to come, and yet everybody has an excuse why they cannot come, and that is an indication for themselves to actually look at what state of their mind they are at right now. That becomes very powerful today, that we saw the heroic saving of the 4 hostages that the Israelis rescued. They weren't released, they were rescued. How within 1 second they were captives, they were slaves, and the horrific experience there to all of a sudden free, we came to take you home. That could happen almost every day, but that could happen in Shavuot as well. But we need to understand how we actually do that. We always compare this drastic change to a concept that we call a quantum leap, that really it's taken from the world of quantum physics, and really is leaping electrons that really surround the atom, layers upon layers, from one layer to another. That leap needs tremendous energy, an investment of energy, to be able to move an electron from this layer to that layer. And if you want to look further, that I'm not talking about the TV series Quantum Leap. I'm talking about the actual physics, quantum physics, into that. And that is basically the message of this parasha, of this weekly parasha, that really indicates to us and shows us that we have the ability to make this leap and actually change our life reality. So if you feel that you are stuck, if you feel that things are not happening to you, be very careful. Shavuot is the time that you can actually do that. And with your permission, I'll show you slowly, hopefully, how we can actually being done. The Zohar says on Parashat NASSO, and he brings the story of the Isha Sotah, it says that we said the Torah tells us about a state that a man suspects his wife that she cheats him, and he warns her not to go in seclusion with a particular man. And then when this came up, he brings it to the Kohen, and he brings her a certain potion of water with the name of Hashem in it, with a tetragrammaton inside, and then she drinks it, and then something miraculously happened. If she betrayed the husband, therefore does water become bitter? Amayim hamarim hame'arerim. This water becomes bitter, and then it says v'tzavta bitna v'nafla yircha, and the stomach collapses, and all organs are being consumed. For those of you who finished Masechet Sotah many years ago and started and finished also, right? Which is an amazing Masechta, just like any other amazing Masechta. And it says, and if not, if im lo sateta nikta v'nizra zara u'malida ben. And if she did not betray her husband, she's actually going to conceive from a husband, and then she's going to have a boy, and it's like a big celebration, and so on and so forth, and so on. That issue of the water comes out when Bnei Israel came out of Mitzrayim. If you remember, when they come to this place called Marah, the place is called bitter, and they're tired, and they're exhausted, and they're extremely thirsty, and when they find they're about to drink the water, and they're drinking the water, they see that the water is bitter, Moshe Rabbeinu cries to God, and it says, what are we going to do? God shows him a tree, takes the tree, throw this into the water, and becomes sweet. The Midrash, the Zohar, says that tree was no other than Etz Chaim. Etz Chaim, Rabotai. Now you might see where I'm going with this. Etz Chaim means the Torah. Etz Chaim, he took the tree and he put it into that. And Moshe throws the tree into the water, and the water becomes sweet, to teach us that every time things are bitter for you, every time things are bad for you, you need to try to taste from the tree of life. And when you try from the tree of life, as soon as you do so, you know that you are able to make that quantum leap from a state that you are to a better state that you're at. But never stay in the state that you are. If it's bad, you need to change it. You need to change it. Don't start telling you, well, I have 5 more years to retirement, I'm going to be vested, I'm going to get, bad for you, go. But you need the koach to do so. But when you go, you need to know how to make the change. How to change it is only through Etz Chaim. And you can only do that, Rabotai. Etz Chaim hi la machzikim ba. Those two, the Ashkenazim and some Sephardim that had the Sefer Torah like this, those two handles of the Sefer Torah is called Etz Chaim. Etz Chaim, you need to lift your Torah up. Lift the Torah up so you can actually see what it's written up there. You need to understand that. You need to lift the Torah way up. You don't go down to the Torah. You don't take the Torah down and throw it there, and then you just like from time to time, turn a couple of dust piles from it and read into it. No, you need to bring yourself up to the Torah. That's why we lift the Torah up so everybody would see it. So of course the famous question that was asked, the placement of Parashat Sotah with all these issues of Kedusha, of holiness, of the Mishkan, the Leviim, that so on and so forth. But maybe we could understand that also, because for example in Yom Kippur, at the peak of the day, the height of the day of Yom Kippur, when we daven Mincha, right before we daven Ne'ilah, we read the Torah, the portion of the Torah, Parashat Acharei Mot. And then there is a tremendous warning for all issues of arayot, all forbidden sexual relationship that we have. You didn't do the thing. So, and then, look at this. We are almost at the levels of angels at the time, right? We are fasting, we are praying all day long, and so on and so forth. Some of us wear white, a whole day of tremendous elevation, of course, no lashon hara, and so on and so forth. And then all of a sudden you're reading about, promiscuous sexual relationships, that it's disgusting. For crying out loud, you couldn't find something better than to read on Yom Kippur than that. There is a remes for that. There is a hint for that. And the purpose is to remind us, specifically in that level, specifically in that event and that time that we are staying, the behemic side of humans that we all have inside of us, we all possess inside of us, that we should know and we should watch out, especially when we want to get closer to Kedusha. You should know that that's where you should be careful. And we're going to talk maybe later on about Shidduchim, and you should understand that maybe a little better as well. If you don't feel anything, any of this moments like this, you know that you're basically bad. If you feel that struggle means that you are heading in the right direction. So when those things don't make any difference, when you find yourself very comfortable going to the beach and watching women with bikinis, you know there's something's wrong with you. When you go to the swimming pool and you see women swimming and men dressed up in Speedo, for crying out loud, and it doesn't do anything to you, you know that you have a problem. Or you don't know, but I'm telling you, you have a problem. You have a problem. So you should be aware of that. And if we could also say that maybe here in our parasha, the whole issues of tsarua is, for lack of better terms, called a leopard, and the person who is zav and the tameh, the impure people. Also, the story of the isha sota, the betrayal woman, and the nazir, right? Also could awaken us to the same remembrance, right? And there's always a chance that you're going to fall, that you're going to be stumbled by the behemic side inside of you, and every single human being has it. We can always fail. But if I want to turn myself into a pure tabernacle, into a pure and holy dwelling inside of me, to be able to be Oved in the Kodesh, to go into the Holy of Holies, to work there, I really need to assort that side, those elements inside of me, put them to the side and put them under control. I cannot eliminate them forever, but I need to have them under control. In other words, I need to be the boss of my life, not my urges. I control my life. The Zohar teaches us that the Isha Sota, and that's, by the way, last week's last week Haftarah in Hosea that we read as well, is the same thing, which we spoke about this morning. The Zohar teaches us that the Isha Sota is us. And we are on the last stage of Geula, of redemption. We are at the last stage. Now, and during that stage, we are going through this process right now of Mei Sota Rabotai. And I'm going to tell you something that you might not like. Right? You might not like. And by doing so, the Zohar tells us things that we already said in Parashat Shemot. It says, Rabbi Shimon nasa yadav bacha ve'amar. Rabbi Shimon lifted his hands, he cried, and he said, Oy lemi sheyeh bador hazeh. Oh my goodness, God forbid for whoever will be in that generation in which Mashiach will come. Oy! Also, ve'ashrei mi sheikre ve'yochal yimatzeh bador hazeh. And lucky he is the one who's going to be in this generation. How is this possible? How is this possible? So, one side we have Oy, the other one we have Ashrei. How is it possible? It says, these are the Mei Sota. So from the same water that one would drink, she would swell up and then crumble inside. The other one becomes pregnant with a holy baby, and there's going to be love between husband and wife. So how is it? It's the same thing. In other words, this is our time to taste the water and to decide, what are you tasting? What kind of a reality do you want to yourself? You want yourself a bitter reality, or you want yourself a sweet reality? That's you. That's not anybody else but you. And if you find your life miserable, it's because you made your life miserable. You chose that. You have a choice. You have a choice. You have a choice. And that's exactly what we're doing. This Chag Shavuot is what allows us to make this leap, this jump, and to choose in reality of love, of reality of happiness, a reality of connection to the light of the Torah. And that is something that you need to remember. You need to choose. So maybe instead of staying up all night and drinking coffee and thinking like you're doing somebody a favor, outside they're smoking cigarette and whatever it is, talking Lashon Hara and so on and so forth, maybe you should take this time to the side and think about what is that you're doing in your life. What responsibility are you willing to assume to your life? What kind of life do you want? And don't complain, because if you don't know what kind of life you want, you're never going to get the life that you wanted. You're never going to. What do you want out of life? What kind of life you want? Then you make a decision. And we should know that the name of the parasha, NASSO, comes from the same root of the word Nisuin, marriage. Nasa, ki nasa isha, nasa bchirat, right? And so therefore the Torah and Chazal really compare the relationship of what we call Knesset Israel, which is the spiritual mother of Am Israel, which is a body that includes all the souls of the Jewish people, with what we call some call it the Shekhinah, some people call it the Knesset Israel, right? And this parasha really brings us to the day of building up, or actually establishing the tabernacle. It says the following: Ve'i beyom chalot Moshe, chalot like kala, right? Chalot Moshe leakim et hamishkan, and he built the tabernacle. Vayimshach oto, vayekadesh oto, and he anointed it and he sanctified. Lekadesh milshon kiddushim, marriage, right? Oto ve'et kol kelav ve'et hamizbeach, and all the utensils and the altar, ve'et hamizbeach ve'et kol kelav ve'imshachem ve'yekadesh otam. Rashi in that place says, Yom HaKamat HaMishkan, the day that they established the tabernacle, Ayu Israel kechala hanichneset lechupata. Am Israel was the bride of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, going under the canopy. And on that the Zohar says, Ve'i biyom kalot Moshe she'yarda kalat Moshe la'aretz. The kala of Moshe came down to this earth. And it says, Ki al ken katuv kala bechoser vav lehorot al hakala yona. Chalot Moshe, right? Should be chaf, vav, lamed, taf. The Torah writes kalot Moshe without this, kaf, lamed, taf, without the vav, to show us that this is really the remes for that. It says al hakala yona. What's the kala yona? What's the superior bride, superior kala? It says it's the malchut. The Sfera of Malchut sheyarda la'aretz lishrot beYisrael, that came to dwell among us. Now that parallel comes to really teach us about the essence of our work that we need to do in this world, and that is avodat hachibur, connection. We need to connect ourselves to the Torah. We need to connect yourself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And a person who is not connected to the Torah, he is disconnected from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I don't care if you like it. I don't care if you don't like it. That's the reality. That's what it is. You're not learning Torah, I don't care what excuses you have. You have no excuses. There are very few excuses when a person is if he's sick with a temperature, or he's, I don't know, whatever. But there's no excuse for you not to learn Torah. And I'm going to tell you something else. You're dating out a girl, you're going on a date with a girl, right? I'm sure you're all, you guys going out with a date with a girl, going out with a date with a girl. She asks you, do you learn Torah? Yes, I learn Torah. Every day. What's your zman kavua? I don't know, let's say 8 to 10. 8 to 10. That's very nice. I'm very impressed. All right, where are we going again? Oh, how about we're going to go tomorrow? What time? 8 o'clock. I thought you have Zman Kavua. I thought you had Zman Kavua. What happened to that? But that's out of the window? And you're going to marry a girl who Torah is not important to her? Oh, who are you fooling? Are you fooling each other here? That is connected to this. You want to be connected to Torah? That's what will happen. You need to understand that. And that's the chibur, that's how we connected. When the neshama came to this world, it enters the body, enters the physical body, and it really disconnects itself from its spiritual source. Our job is to reconnect it all the time. All the days, and the job will end either chas v'shalom, that you are senile, you don't know what's going on with you, God forbid, or that you're dead. Until that point, every single day, you gotta connect yourself. Every single day. So when they come to Shamayim and they ask you, Kavata itim la Torah, they didn't ask you, did you make excuses why you didn't learn Torah? They didn't ask you, excuse me, what belt do you have? You are karate, what belt do you have? A black belt? Oh, well, go to Gan Eden. They don't ask you that. Kavata itim la Torah is, did you seek every single day to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Yes or no? No. 1 second. God gave you this day food to eat, air to breathe, water, and so on and so forth. Why did you want to connect with Him? Why, you just mooch? Give me? What's your attitude? You need to understand that, and you need to really, grab that idea. So the word, and when it's mitnatek, right? And the remez is tinok, a baby. What's a tinok? Tinok also were letters of nituk, of disconnect as well. And this is also the same letters of tikkun. So you want to be what? You need to choose what you want. You do the tikkun. You want to do you want the tinok, like a baby, or you're doing the tikkun or the nituk or disconnect. I mean, you need to understand. And the tikkun is to find find that not only every day I'm going to raise up the bar here for you. And don't think that passing the bar is the goal of your life. The goal of your life is to raise the bar for yourself. The bar is, I'm going to tell you, is to find the chibur to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not only every day, in every action that you do. You need to put HaKadosh Baruch Hu in every action that you do, because God is there in everything. And therefore you need to do that. So, and that is the chibur they are talking about. That's the connection between Chatan ve'Kala, between a bride and a groom, right? Groom, right? Now you decide, you want to be the groom or you want to be the broom? What do you want to be? So this is the connection between ish ve'isha, a man and his wife. You see, lo ba'al ve'isha, ish ve'isha. Al ze yikare ishi ve'lo ba'ali, right? Which we spoke about. And the same thing ben adam lechavero, between a fellow man and another fellow man. And that's why when a person speaks lashon hara, it's so bad. Because if I speak lashon hara, chas v'shalom bat shmaya, right? Or bat idan, or speak, like this, what do? I create a perud. I create a separation. That separation that you put between people is ultimately a separation that you're going to put between you and God. So it's not lashon hara that you're just talking about that particular person. What you are doing here is you're creating a separation between people and between you and God. And that is a crime. And that's why you have to bring korban. What did I say? I didn't say anything. You spoke badly? You're going to pay for it, because ultimately that's what it's all about. A person that speaks lashon hara all the time is not going to stay religious forever. I'm not quite sure he's religious to begin with. I'm not sure. And this is the motivation, right, of this work. Right? We need to have a good motive, right? We need to have a good motive to do so. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do things. You need to be very motivated to do the right thing. And that motivation to the connection is understanding the spiritual root of a Jewish home. Those of you who are married, or those of you who are not married, you need to understand the spiritual root of a Jewish home. What does it mean to have a Jewish home? The Kabbalah teaches us that everything in creation has a structure of 10 sferot in it. And the root of everything is the Tetragrammaton, the Shem Havaya, what we call. And that is the holy name of 4 letters. And the edge of the letter Yud, the tip of the edge of Yud, refers to Sfirat Keter. The letter Yud itself is Keneged Chokhmah. The letter first Hey is Keneged Sfirat Binah. The Vav is against the Sfirah of Tiferet, which really is divided into 6 different Sfirot, and the last Hey is Keneged Sfirat Malchut. Now you understand, when we make in the Tfilah, we say L'Shem Yichud Kudsha, in order for have a complete wholeness in that. So I'm praying for unification. That's what I'm doing. So it is appropriate, or you could refer to the 10 Sfirot as different pipes that the channels in which the abundance of HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes to this world. The name of Yudke Vavke, what we call the Shem Havaya, on the 10 Sfirot in it, is really shows itself in a Jewish home. That's why when a couple gets married, we say, Shizku lakim bait ne'eman b'Yisrael. What's a bait ne'eman? Bait ne'eman, a loyal house? No, it's a loyal what? Bait ne'eman, a house that is established on emunah. Emunah that there's no separation between that. It's all together. And first of all, HaKadosh Baruch Hu inside this house. So the Mekubalim tells us that when Ish ve'isha, a man and a woman, get married, they stand keneged Sfirat, Tiferet, and Malchut. That is the Vav and the Hey, like the Ze'er Anpin and Malchut together. But when the children are born, the whole system goes an upgrade. This is all like this, but when the children are born, it's all an upgrade. The man is not, the man, the husband, is not only a man now, he is upgraded to what? Become a father. He becomes a father, an Abba. Ve'isha, the woman becomes Ima, just like the upper Sferot, right? So that's, so the man elevates himself to the Sferah or Chokhmah, which corresponds with the letter Yud, and the woman goes up, elevates herself to the Sefer, to the level of Binah. How do you know that? You've been looking at these books without telling. That's twice today I'm catching you on this. Alright, it's okay, it's fine. It elevates itself keneged Sfirat Binah, which is the Hey. So now the son is keneged Vav, goes keneged Vav, and that's a Ze'er Anpin, and the daughter goes up to elevates herself to the level of the Hey, which is the Tiferet Malchut, and the whole entire Jewish home, it becomes a chariot for the name of Hashem. That's why we need to have Pru Vu. We need to have a boy and a girl that could bring children, because we need to continue in elevating those roles all together all the time. Now that's very important, and I'm sure you're not going to listen to that, and I'm sure you did not hear about that when you're taking your Chassan and color classes. But you know what? It's never too late. Somebody got to tell you that. So now, by doing so, if the Jewish home is okay and everybody elevated, now we can bring Shefa to this world. That's why it's important to live around good Jewish neighbors, so now the whole community becomes better. And listen, you might say whatever you want to say about this, but when Jews move to a community, what happened to all the prices of the houses? They go up. There's bracha, everybody benefits. Tell me whatever you want, that's the reason why. That is the reason why. That's why Rabbi Akiva was darshan. Rabbi Akiva says in Masechet Sotah, Daf Yud Zayin, right? Ish ve'isha zachu. If a man and a woman married, shchina benehem. Lo zachu, esh ochaltan. If they didn't, fire would consume them. Why is that? Because the man has the Yud and the woman has a Hey, right? Ish, Isha, right? Together, it's the name of Yud and Hey. If they're married, right, and if they did not, if they were not able to inhabit those letters and basically to elevate the spiritual game up higher, all it's left between an Ish and Isha is Esh ve'esh, fire and fire. And you don't want fire and fire. Why? Because fire and fire is a great light, great power with no vessel. And having light with no vessel is a reality that is going to end up in great damage. That's why you need to make sure that you are both on the same spiritual wavelength. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do so. If, for example, the husband wants to go to the Dominican Republic and the woman wants to go to, I don't know, Copacabana, okay, they can make it out. They said, okay, we'll go to Rio, we go to Salvador de Bahia, I don't know, we go to somewhere. Turks and Caicos. Okay, but if the husband wants to go on vacation, wants to sit down in Yeshiva to learn, and the wife wants to go to the Dominican Republic, they got a problem because the things don't match. That's why it's the easiest thing to know if that's the shidduch for you or not the shidduch for you is the litmus test that you're going to do. How committed both of you are to Torah. If there's no Torah, there's no Shekhinah. There's no Shekhinah, there's not going to be bracha, Rabotai. There's not going to be bracha in your life. And that's why it says, Achacham einav berosho. A wise man, his eyes is in his head. Excuse me, where your eyes should be. Of course they're in your head. However, it doesn't say that. Ve'akasil b'choshech holech. That's in Kohelet, also known as Ecclesiastics in chapter
13.
2, verse
5.
14. Anyway, yes, you gotta do a review. I didn't get there yet, right? You're doing your daily Tanakh, you didn't get there yet. Soon. Right? So therefore it's good to be Magdim Trufa Lamakal, you do preventive medicine, right? And you do the proper work. You don't, why should you make the psychologist, wealthy? It doesn't work. Don't make them wealthy. Marry right. And it's okay, yeah. And you need to remember, you need to remember you're not alone doing this work. As the Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanan, Shlosha Shutafin Yesh Lo La'adam. Every human has 3 partners in it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu ve'aviv ve'imo. God and your father and mother. Aviv Mazriya Haloven, Shemimeno Atzamot ve'gidim ve'tzipornaim. Right? Let me just, 1 second, I want to see, Ari, just see if there's somebody's texting us, because somebody says he's going to come and he's trying to get in. No, he's at the door. Now, the father gives him the white parts on him, which is the bones, the sinew, the nails, and the head, the not the hair, how do you call it? The brain, right? And he gives him a veruach v'neshama. Velo v'shebeino imo mazrat odem. His mother gives him the red stuff, which is skin, flesh, hair, and the black in the eye. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives him the soul and spirit. That's what the Gemara says in Masechet Nida, Daf Lamed Aleph. So we could say that also in the Jewish home today. You're off, man. Today we could say also in the Jewish home there are 3 partners. They have 3 partners also. And marriage is not just ego versus ego, Kramer versus Kramer. It's not only that. There are 2 different souls, right? That with the proper work and siyata deshemaya, with the heavenly help, right? They could turn into one thing. In other words, and that's why we say love is one. When you love your wife is when you become one with her. There's not me and you. There's not my paycheck, your paycheck. Everything goes together. So you take the soul of the man, you take the soul of the woman, and now you're forming something that is a single entity. When there is a single entity, then the Shekhinah comes. Then the Shekhinah, and then you become a chariot to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to the holiness, to the Holy of Holy. That's when you do that. You need to understand it. You need to work on this. You need to form this partnership. And in order to remember that, in order to get all these renewal powers, as we spoke before, and the incentive, the constant incentive to work hard, and it's not easy, to connect, and so on and so forth, you need to put things in the right perspective. You want to have this kind of life or not? And if not, I'll tell you what. And if not, might as well not get married. If you're not willing to do this work, might as well not get married. I'm sorry to tell you that. Actually, I'm not sorry. I'm telling you that. What's the point of getting married? All you're going to do is fight. What's the point? There's no point. Now, in Sefer Eliyahu Zuta, it says, I'm going to tell you something. It says a few reasons why a man marries a woman. And it brings the results there. So you think always that I have some kind of a hidden agenda. I don't have any hidden agenda. Everything I put on the table straight out. But nothing is mine. It's all from the books. And I'm going to tell you this. It says the following. Yesh noseh isha leshem znut. A person wants to marry a woman for his desires. It's like, okay, might as well, why? That's it. Veyesh noseh isha leshem shamayim. There's a person who marries a woman for the right reason, and it is la'asot retzon boreo, to do what God wants him to do. Veyesh noseh isha leshum gdula. A person marries a woman because he wants honor. She comes from a respectful family and so on and so forth. Yesh noseh isha, right? Leshem mamon, for money. Her father is rich, Hamdan, right? Bal tachmod. Right? Look what he does here. You marry for money, you're going to end up working for it. There's no free ride. However, if when a person marries a woman, L'Shem Shamayim, right? That's the highest level. So therefore it says, "Anosei isha l'shem znut." If a person marries a woman for ta'ava, for desire, sofo shemotzeim mimeno ben sorer u'moreh. You're gonna have a rebellious child against you. You gotta be careful why you want to get married. Anosei isha l'shem mamon. A person that marries a woman for the sake of money, sofo shematzrichim oto la'achirim. Habibi, you're gonna marry for money. At the end, guess what? You're gonna need people to help you. Right? Anosei isha l'shem gdula. A person marries a woman to become famous and honorable. Sofo shema'aminim otam be'otam mishpacha kedei lema'et zara'o acharav. Right? They're gonna come and chase you, so nobody will be like you anymore. V'anosei isha l'shem shamayim. A person marries a woman for the right reason. Why? Because God commanded me. That's it. Sofo shiyu lo banim shemoshiim et Yisrael be'et tzaratam. At the end, he's going to have children. They're going to help the Jews at the darkest time. You're gonna have saviors. So you gotta be very careful of why you marry and who you marry. Don't put the stakes. I only marry a girl is this. I only marry from this ethnicity. I only marry a girl from that ethnicity. I don't marry a girl from... What are you doing? You can't look at the person? Well, why are you looking at if not at the person? And what are you looking at? At the father's wallet? And what are you looking at? At her looks? It's all nonsense. You're going to pay for this. There's no free rides in this world. You marry a woman for a green card? Good luck. I don't think you need this today anyway. The bottom line is that a person needs to make sure that his intent is not external only. Right? Only he should not look at like, oh, what could I get from this shidduch, from this connection? What can I get out of it? But rather his kavanah needs to be internal. What could I give? What could I give? And I need to give l'shem shamayim. Why? In order to be mashpia, to connect. So my house will be beit vayit lechachamim. So my house will be a house of Torah. That my house will be a house where guests come in. When people in need will know to come to my house. That's what I'm doing it for. I'm not doing it for anything else. You're going to do it for something else, you're going to pay a price. And I'll guarantee you cannot pay for it. Rav Eliyahu Dessler, Michtav Eliyahu says, "V'chen ani omer tamid lazug be'et simchat klulutehem." I always tell this the chatan and kala at the wedding night. Hizaru yekarim. Be careful, dear ones. Shetamid tishpeu lashbiya nachat ze lezeh. Always strive to make the other one happy. To make the other one content. Happy doesn't mean I bought you a ring or I bought you a tie. It means make them content. They should be proud. Right? If you're going to do so, you guarantee to be happy. You guarantee to have a happy life. And if you want to look at Michtav Eliyahu in the section about Shidduchim over there. A house that is based on self-receiving, on selfishness. At the end, it's going to bring to destruction of itself, and God forbid to destruction of the world, because you're going to bring people, you're going to raise kids that are selfish people. They all can see their own self-centered people. However, a house that is based on giving and helping and Torah, that's why it says, "Bayit shelo nishma bo Torah balayla," right? A house that is not involved with Torah at night, listen, ladies, is going to consume with fire. And a house that there is a voice of Torah in it at night, now whether in your house or the husband is learning, chut shel chesed mashuch bo. There's going to be a thread of grace and kindness over your house. You don't need to travel and do all kind of like hocus pocus and pay thousands of dollars or do a Parashat challah and all this like craziness you guys do. No, you don't need that. You need to make sure your husband goes to learn. And if you don't come complaining. The Rashash here explains how important it is to keep the spirit of the Jewish home for the world, not for us, for the world. It's above and beyond you and me, guys. It's above and beyond. It's about the whole entire world. He says, Hashkafat Yahadut, the Jewish outlook, Tamid yeh leyehudi bayit, that a Jew should have a house. Why? Shebo yichyeh be'avira yehudit tahora. In this house, you need to make sure that it's going to be a pure Jewish environment. No TV, kosher food to the best of your abilities, not to the best of your desires, to the best of your abilities. Don't tell me, Rabbi, I cannot live without this ice cream. No, there's no such thing. You want a Jewish house, that's what it needs to be. And he says, and he cries, and it says, Ubo yekabel hamorasha hu chanit musarit. Over there, only then, this is the grounding, this is the growing box that you can actually grow the true Jewish morals. Only then you cannot teach your children with whatever, kosher only and this kind of ice cream. That doesn't work. It needs to be across the board. Just like you do in anything else in your life. Just like you do like anything else in your life. You want the best. You're going to buy a car. You don't want a car with half leather seats, half this, half cloth. You want all nice leather seats, right? Everything in your life you want the best. Why when it comes to Judaism you don't want the best? Can you tell me that? What's wrong with your attitude? And now it goes like this, and he says, Hakimu batim, establish houses like this. Because here you're going to take care of the well-being of people. In a way, we are in charge of the morals of the world. It would spread. And when we bring the filth to a house, when we don't keep the purity of the Jewish house, it affects the world. And he adds, Sherak ba'ale musar tzaruf kaze, only people that have true Jewish morals, mesugalim leachdir et hayesod musari, are able to introduce morality into actions for the well-being and for the well-being and for the harmony of all humanity. This is the only way to do so. Be very careful with what's going on in your house. Be very careful. Make sure your wife doesn't go with bathing suits. Make sure she covers her hair. Make sure your kashrut is at the standards in which you demand of every other aspect in your life. Do not compromise on Talmud Torah. Do not compromise on these things. Only when you do that, you can influence the world. Only when you do that, you become a chariot to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Only when you do that, there will be peace and harmony in this world. And this is all depends on one thing and one thing only. That it depends on your choice that you make. You want to drink from the bitter water, you want to drink from the sweet water. You want to connect yourself to the good reality or to the bad reality. You want the red pill or you want the blue pill. Chag Shavuot Sameach.